that year, you're also having a lot of success. Omarion did the O album that you worked on. Marcus Houston had the Naked album that you worked on. Chris Brown's first album comes out, and he's suddenly propelled to be a superstar.
So let's talk about that for a second. Omarion, we worked on him with B2K for Chris Stokes, another good friend, and we worked on that project, and that's how we got Marcus Houston. They were all under the same umbrella, and we worked on those projects, and Omarion was the first project. So you are right in kind of comparing it together in a sense, because Tank worked. That was the first Tank song that we worked on with Tank. The Underdogs worked with Tank. That was the beginning of the Tank era. So if you go back to How You Gonna Act Like That or Gots to Be, let's go Gots to Be first. That's the Steve Russell Underdog era. And then you got How You Gonna Act Like That, which is the Eric Dawkins, my big brother for life. Love him to death to this day. He's my voice of reason to this day. But that's our first song we ever did was How You Gonna Act Like That. And that whole entire album, pretty much, we did that album, The Underdogs. And that was the beginning of the Underdog era between Gots to Be and Tyrese's album. And then the success of that was during the divorce, right? The success, How You Gonna Act Like That came out the same year as the divorce was happening. And Tyrese was my buddy. We were like brothers at the time. Tank and him said, I had this big house in Coldwater Canyon. It overlooked the whole valley, Kim and I at that time. They moved in the house with me because you go through a divorce, it's tough, you know. We didn't have Instagram and all that stuff back then. It was just tough. So we had a great time. They made sure I got through that year. They were great friends. And those songs were created. So in those songs, the song you're leaving out is a song by Mario called How Could You? And do you have the lyrics to that song in front of you? If you go to the chorus of that,
How Could You?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Yep. Which part?
That song was written by myself, and it was three guys going through something. It was Jay Valentine, I believe, and Eric Dawkins had broke up with his girl. I was going through a divorce. So when you hear the lyrics, how could you let somebody lay where I lay? How could you, this is all about that. This is the divorce song, for real. How could you put me in the back and him in the front seat? How could you, all that, the Mario song.
Okay, but what you're basically saying, without getting into any specifics, is that essentially this song, How Could You by Mario, is essentially about your marriage with Kim.
Well, yeah, but it was about Eric's breakup. It was about, and Jay Valentine was my boy. He knew what I was going through, so he was able to word it the way I could tell them what I was going through. They penned it that way, and that record kind of came out to be one of those big R&B staples. So then you go to O. O is the first Tank song. So now it's a different. Now the Underdog sound is evolving because Tank can play. And I can play. We both are great musicians. So you got both me and Tank. I think I'm on the bridge of the song. He's on the beginning of the song playing. And, Harvey's with these great drums and all the program and all the production is, of course, the Underdogs, And, I'll say this, and I'm going to talk about this more when I do the R&B podcast with Tank and Jay. The Underdogs were formed by me and Harvey. We are the Underdogs, right? Damon and Harvey. But the culture of the Underdogs is a lot of different people. It was my ability to bring in a Jay and a Tank, and they're all the part of the Underdogs, because it's all their talent. And I'm going to talk about that more. And we'll do a whole Underdog segment, and we'll talk about the songs, because it's really brilliant how these songs were put together. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get to that. But that's kind of, so that's me and Tank, and then there's another song, I'm Trying. I think that was his second single off that album. That was me and Jay Valentine and Eric Dawkins again. And then there's Naked, which is Naked came, and that was the first break between the creatives because Eric and Harvey had a disagreement about a Marcus Houston song. So Eric and Tony are gone now. And Tony was also a part of Naked, I believe. But Eric and Tony, or maybe no. That's not correct because Tony's on Naked. They're not gone. Tony's not gone yet, but I think Eric's gone. Eric missed Naked. And so it's Tank, me, Harvey, and that's sad for me because I'm the champion for the creatives. I wanted to keep it out of everybody. Harvey was a dog. If you made him mad, that was it. So I was always the one trying to hold the creative force together when it came to the songwriters and the creatives. I love everybody I'm working with. Some people don't have to like people when they work with them. I think Harvey's the latter, and I'm the one who loves everybody when it came to that. But he was a great businessman. So that's why it worked.
Yeah, and shout out to Jay Valentine. I don't know if you ever saw my interview with his father, Ron Newt.
I know Ron Newt, but I didn't see the interview.
You got to see. It's one of the greatest interviews of all time.
I'll check that out.